Hi there, everybody. It's Dr. Steve with Kineci, and we are into part 2. This is your understanding your pain, and we're talking about patellofemoral pain or kneecap pain. And we went into a bunch of the education in part 1 where we talked about some of the mechanics that contribute to it. We talked about some of the old school methods that they would go to approach this, particularly surgery methods. But what we're doing is we're going down the path of working on your mechanics to help the knee function at its best and to reduce that stress and strain causing the pain so that the knee can just do what it needs to do. And that's going to be working with things above, things below, and the knee that's stuck in the middle gets the benefit out of all of that. So in the first video, we went into hip flexor stretching and the side of the body stretching. Now we're going to do a stretch and activation for the backside, the hamstrings. And so I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do this based on your body's mobility ability. And so we'll start with a little bit easier and kind of progress to a little bit harder. But using a chair is a great way to do this. So I'm going to give you this view where we're going to be working on my left leg. So using something like a chair is a great kind of tool. Standing 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, this is going to be stretching through this front leg. And so what we're going to do is hands are going to go onto the chair seat. Everything gets to bend, a little bend in the knees, obviously bent at the hips. And then we take the hips through the 3-direction formula that we always do with a forward and back, up and down kind of motion. We really want to be pulling the hips up and back to create that stretch through the back of the hamstrings. It's not trying to come forward with it, but as the hips and the knees start to straighten and lift, we want to really be pulling back with it. So this is the up and down or forward and back. Then we swing the hips side to side, and this is where we really get a lot of that rotation. The hips are swinging side to side, and we want to see the shin bone really rotating back and forth down to at your foot where you can see it supinating as the arch lifts and pronating as the arch drops. So we want to have that rotation going in the leg as the butt swings side to side. And then these are funny and awkward, but we do circles. And there's no two ways about it. It is funny, it is awkward, but it is effective. So we circle around one way, we circle around the other way, and that is really getting the hamstrings. Okay, so that's the easier method with the hands elevated. Now we can go a little bit harder is when we keep dropping the legs down or the hands down. So I'm going to give you a little different view here, and then we'll kind of switch around for the other version. But these are the same things. These are some yoga blocks, and the idea is it's lower than what we just had our hands on the chair seat. The lower the hands, the bigger the stretch. So here, hands are onto the yoga blocks, and I'm stretching my right leg this time, and we're going up and down. We swing the hips side to side. So here I wanted to give you this view so that you can really see as my hips swing side to side, the tibia, my shin bone, is really rotating. And as I rotate into supination, that's lifting the arch. And as the hips go the other way, the arch is really dropping down, and that's pronation. And we want the hips going side to side enough that you get to see that down to your foot and ankle. And then we go into the circles, circling around one way, circling around the other way. Okay, so that was the medium version. Now we're going to go to the hardest version, and I'm going to give you the view of my butt because it's just a different way to see this. Not to stick my butt at the camera, but that's what I'm doing. Okay, so here, again, I'm going to be stretching out the right leg. So my right foot is forward, but this time hands go all the way down onto the ground, and the hands are going to stay there. So just from the side view for a moment, giving you kind of that, it's like you're in a sprinter start position, but then the hands stay on the ground, and we lift the hips up and down. We go into the side to side, swinging the hips side to side, creating that rotation down to the tibia. And then we go in circles, and you're trying to take the body and all of everything and going around in circles one way, and then circling around the other way. Now, one little tip that I like to remind people is, after you've been tipped upside down and your hands are on the ground for a moment or two, when you come back up, take a moment, let the juices settle. No passing out, no blacking out allowed, but just let yourself kind of get settled, and then you'll switch sides to repeat the other half. Okay, so that's going to be a stretch and activation of the hamstrings and the back side of the body, the posterior chain getting into the glutes. And as we go into the next video, we're going to progress into more of a muscle activation for all of these parts that are going to ultimately help the knee feel better and function better, and be a great starting point for you to get over some patellofemoral pain. So until next time, keep moving, everybody.